Good evening. I'm I'm the Deputy Chief Administrative Officer for Human Services for the City of Richmond. Thank you for joining us here this evening for this special conversation. In this age of live streaming and virtual meetings, we are grateful for you who were undaunted by parking or even pollen, to physically join us on this Tuesday evening in April. Your presence for this important conversation is truly appreciated. Richmond is on a journey to create and sustain multiple pathways to economic upward mobility for individuals and families. We began this journey in earnest 10 years ago with the work of the Anti-Poverty Commission. Some of you in this room might have served on that Anti-Poverty Commission. Thank you. We have taken big steps forward in these past 10 years. We created the Office of Community Wealth Building, the first of its kind in the nation. We have the Maggie Walker Citizens Advisory Board, and we have Richmond ambassadors. The Office of Community Wealth Building has been recognized and received awards from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Virginia Community Colleges, the Metropolitan Business League, and the United Way of Greater Richmond and Petersburg for its progress and success. However, the ultimate affirmations of our success with the Office of Community Wealth Building are the people, teens and working adults who have overcome barriers and found their unique path to economic freedom with compassionate guidance from our team. So, will the team from the Office of Community Wealth Building please stand? I also would like to acknowledge past and present leaders of the Office of Community Wealth Building. The first director was Thad Williamson. Are you in the room, Thad? Would you please stand? I followed Thad, and then I was followed by Valerie Mitchell, Shinley, and now our current director, Patricia Spellman. Please stand again. Thank you, and I also must add that Councilwoman Ellen Robertson has always been a stalwart supporter and a champion and a visionary for this issue area. We are grateful for bold leaders, past and present, who take action on big and bold ideas. So, I'm eager to hear from Mayor Stoney and Mayor Tubbs and our panelists this evening. Bold leaders, big ideas. Thank you, audience, for showing up, demonstrating your belief that we can do more to achieve social and economic justice and equity. Now, to give greater context about our guaranteed basic income pilot in Richmond, I invite Tracy DeShazer, our Chief Equity Officer, to the stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for that introduction, Reggie. Good evening.
Good evening.
Reggie, again, thank you for the introduction, and thank you for reminding us of the progress made in creating and sustaining pathways for the economic mobility of Richmond families. The Richmond Resilience Initiative further supports these efforts. The pilot, which was launched in 2020 with funding made available through Mayors for a Guaranteed Income and the Robbins Foundation, provided 18 individuals and individual families engaged in Office of Community Wealth Building programming with a $500 recurring cash payment for 24 months. Last summer, a second cohort supported by additional funding from Mayors for a Guaranteed Income and the Richmond Memorial Health Foundation launched with 46 additional individual and individual families supported by the Office of Community Wealth Building, also receiving a $500 recurring cash payment, again for 24 months. Since the launch of the Richmond Resilience Initiative, guaranteed income pilots have been and are in the process of being established in Arlington, Alexandria, and Fairfax County. We are proud to have led this movement in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we are thrilled that so many of our program participants are here with us this evening. We are also joined by many of our partners in this effort, including Up Together and Help Me Help You, who will assist us in the launch of a third cohort of returned citizens. This effort will be supported by funding provided through the American Rescue Plan Act. While each of our pilots, and in our case, our cohorts, has a different framework, it is important to note that they are each designed to promote economic security and resilience. They are designed to build up our communities. The Richmond Resilience Initiative was established to assist individuals impacted by the cliff effect, which may occur if an individual receives a pay raise, for example. You see, that pay raise may actually lead to an individual's loss of federal benefits, effectively causing them to, well, fall off of that cliff. This evening, you will hear directly from program participants on the benefits of guaranteed income and how the program is helping them not merely survive, but actually thrive. As we enter tonight's discussion, I want you to take a moment. I want you to reflect on your current circumstances. Consider those of your family, your neighbors, and even your friends. Now imagine what an additional $500 could do over the course of 2 years of your life. In 1967, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., a staunch advocate for universal basic income, reflected in his work, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? By sharing this: the solution of poverty is to abolish it directly by a now widely discussed measure, the guaranteed income. Our mayor, LeVar Stoney, he believes in this measure. He understands that guaranteed income is a tool, and he believes that in a nation of plenty, no one should live in poverty. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you our mayor, LeVar Stoney. Mayor Stoney.
Y'all give it up for Tracy. And my Deputy Chief Administrative Officer, Reggie Gordon. And the entire Office of Community Wealth Building. Folks, I'm excited to be here with you all tonight to discuss the impact of Richmond's Guaranteed Income Program, locally referred to as the Richmond Resilience Initiative, or RRI. To help lead this conversation, we are lucky to have my friend, former mayor of Stockton, California, the Honorable Michael Tubbs, with us this evening. Mayor Tubbs is also the founder of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income. He will have a lot to say about that this evening. Mayor Tubbs has been a trailblazer in our country, championing the fight for universal basic income and racial justice. Once again, let's give him a round of applause, y'all. Tonight, you'll hear from Mayor Tubbs, Micaiah Rice, Kiki Ramos, and Emmanuel Johnson, all members of our second Richmond Resilience Initiative cohort, about how $500 a month in guaranteed income can be a game changer. How it can be a game changer in one's life. For our RRI participants, $500 per month in guaranteed income has helped pay for childcare. It's paid for additional education, groceries, and allowed folks to donate to charitable organizations for the first time in their lives. I know that an additional $500 per month would have made a world of difference for me and my family when I was growing up. I can remember like it was yesterday when I was responsible for the finances in my home. Even at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, my grandmother made me responsible for the household finances. I balanced the checkbook. I wrote the checks. I remember writing checks to Dominion Power, writing checks to Virginia Natural Gas, writing checks to York Point Apartments. But also it was my responsibility to call the bank at the end of the month to figure out whether or not we had enough dollars to make it to the end of the month. And I can recall calling on that last week of the year and hearing the recording that you have $25 remaining in your checking account. And having to be the one at 9, 10 years old to tell my grandmother, Grandma, all we have is $25 left. And she would just say, baby, we're going to make it anyway. And we made it. But should a family have to survive, or should they be able to thrive? That is the question. See, there's another benefit to guaranteed income, providing that sense of security, knowing that you don't have to worry as much about money each month. Guaranteed income improves people's lives, financially and emotionally. Don't take it from me, take it from one of our participants, Marlon, a single father and commercial truck driver who was able to come off the road to spend more time with his son. Because of the Richmond Resilience Initiative, Marlon says he can take better care of his son and his expenses in his final senior year of high school. Save money. He can improve his credit, and for the first time in a very long time, attend his son's basketball games. And we hear more stories like that. We will hear more stories like that tonight from our amazing RRI participants. With that being said, I'm excited to introduce Mayor Tubbs and Micaiah Rice, Kiki Ramos, and Emmanuel Johnson for a robust conversation about guaranteed income.
Well, first, let me spend a moment to brag on your mayor. And he mentioned, I'm joined here by Suki and Cameron. We run a group called Mayors for Guaranteed Income. It's a group of over 100 mayors across the country that are emulating the lead of your great city. And your mayor was one of the first mayors to sign up. Before it was in vogue, before there was data, before the child tax credit. He was one of the first 10 mayors in this country to stand up during the COVID-19 pandemic and say, you know what, my residents deserve, as he said so eloquently, the opportunity to thrive and not just survive. So Mayor Stone, I want to honor your leadership as one of the nation's leaders on ending poverty and investing in the residents. So this is, you have no idea. You guys are like a dream come true. And I say this because 6 years ago, I was even younger. It was my first year as mayor, and I said we're going to do a guaranteed income. And people looked at me like I had said I was going to end the city, or I was going, literally. And Cameron will tell you, because he was my assistant in City Hall, we had people calling, saying all types of terrible things about how we were wasting money, how the money was going to be spent on drugs and alcohol, how we're rewarding people who don't want to do anything for themselves with money. And this is before we had selected any participants. This is before we even had selection criteria. This is when we said we should give some people some money as a way of improving our city. So it's always such an honor to talk to those who, through their actions, through their day-to-day lives, prove all those things to be false and prove that the most important thing we can do is actually invest in our residents. So I'm looking forward to our conversation, but I want to start by saying thank you for your leadership, for your because it ain't easy to get up here and tell your business, you know? I know there's more than 3 participants who got this money. And the other 60 of them chilling. They're like, they got it. No one got to know. So but truly, and I think that's why it says we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the words of our testimony. By telling your stories, you're getting us to the point where we're not doing pilots anymore. We have a policy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and let the audience get to know who you are before we dive into your spending habits and everything else. Look, everybody waking, they got the notepads out too, aren't they? Let's see the dashboard's right, were they? Anyway, so let's start with you, Emmanuel. No, I know Emmanuel, Kiki, McKay. I know you. I don't need notes. I know who you are. Let's start with you. And can you just tell us who you are?
Well, I'm Emmanuel Johnson. My friends call me Vaughn. I consider you a man. The male, my friend, but a lot of my friends call me Vaughn. I'm a person that came from the communities out here in Richmond, Virginia. Came from Mosby Court area, one of the roughest neighborhoods in Richmond. I was incarcerated, came home. It's been 12 years now. So came home and wanted to hit the ground running. I wanted to help out. I wanted to give more. I wanted to give back to my community and let them know that we can change. And so I was signed up for all this stuff, and I was giving more than I was receiving. And I ain't never know why at the end of the month I couldn't pay my bills. I'm like, hey, I'm doing too much stuff in this community. And I would call everybody like, look, I'm doing this in the community. And I just was that type of person. Now, from back then to now, I'm a certified master barber instructor. I'm currently hold my CDL, which I'm a truck driver. I'm on the road every week. And I did take off to be here tonight. So
Do you have
extra 500 on that one. But yeah, my children, I have 5 sons that I'm raising. And like I say, I'm able to, now not only do I have my CDL, I was able to get my hazmat license. I'm able to get
after the money?
Yeah.
You're getting ahead of me. I just want the intro. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about
okay,
that.
all right. You know, I'm ready to go.
We had a whole plan.
Okay. I'm going to stick to the script now. Yeah, I'm going to stick to the script. That's who I am, though.
And Kiki, before we go to you, I know the newly minted First Lady of Richmond is here, so I want to honor you and say good to see you.
I'm Kiki Ramos, originally born and raised in New York. I've been in Richmond 18 years now. I'm a single mom of 2 boys, 11 and 2. I am...
You got some on that 2-year-olds. They already know. I got a 1.5-year-old at home. I'm too.
I thought I was done. I thought it was one and done. And it surprised me. I'm a nationally certified pharmacy technician for HCA Hospital. And I was working at a home infusion center that I recently was able to put my 2 weeks in. So I don't have to work 2 jobs.
Could I pause right there? So you were working 2 jobs?
Yes.
And still
And going to school.
And going to school and raising 2 kids and still was trying to figure out how to make everything work at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And you said now you don't have to work the second job anymore? Got it.
Yep. So now it's focusing on school, and I've rearranged my work schedule. My job has been awesome and got me a 7-on, 7-off day shift where I can actually spend more time and make more money to help raise my kids. But I've been able to do trips and learn my 11-year-old a little bit more.
Well, thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Micaiah Rice. I'm 24. I have a 4-year-old daughter. I'm a current student at Virginia State University, my second semester. Second semester of graduate school. I'll be graduating on May 13th. Wow. Thank you. I moved to Richmond beginning.
I said it again because not for this audience, but there were a lot of trolls coming on my Twitter when I said I was coming to Richmond to do guaranteed income, and they were saying all types of stuff about people they never met. And you said you're in your second semester as a graduate student. So that's like after undergrad, right? That's like a master's degree?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And I have, like I said, I have a 4-year-old. I'm currently an intern on Capitol Hill. I intern for the Honorable Terry A. Sewell, District 7 of Alabama, which is where my daughter was born, where I was, I was raised there. So yeah, I hopefully will be able to go to the Senate side this summer, and if God see fit, I'll be in the White House in the fall. If not, I'll be doing a CBCF internship fellowship. So this program has been like absolutely amazing. My mentor, Faith Walker, who is also in the program, introduced me to it, I guess, in April. So without this program, I probably would not have been able to even think about going to get my master's. I also played basketball as well.
Okay.
So I was doing a lot.
Y'all do too much. Golly, that's like a
Thank you
slacker up
for the
here.
500.
Well, but let's start because I think the chief equity officer, she mentioned that this program in particular are for folks who are experiencing the cliff effect. And just to make sure we all understand what that is, in this country today, there's a whole bunch of people who don't qualify for government assistance who still need help. My mom was one of those people when I was older. So these are folks who are working 2 jobs, going to school, raising children, who are playing by the rules we set out for what it takes to be successful and achieve the American dream, and are still struggling. And now for the next couple minutes, we'll talk about how something as small as $500 was a real bridge or a real lifeline to allow them to do things like intern on Capitol Hill, or quit second jobs, or spend more time with their children. But I want to underline, because when we talk about guaranteed income, so much of the conversation is that you're giving money to people who aren't working. And I'm a nerd, and the data is this: the vast majority of people in this country who can work, do work. The people who don't work in this country are children. Literally, no, that's the data, because there's child labor laws, although in Iowa today, and in Arkansas and some of them other places, they're trying to make kids work, which, anyway, that's another conversation, another panel for another day. So for you all, for folks who don't believe it, like, how can you, it's going to sound like a dumb question, but something you got to break it down for people so they get it. How could you work and still not afford everything? Like, how could you work and still need help?
Yeah, but a 2-bedroom apartment costs $1,200. I only bring home $1,200 a paycheck. My car note is $500. You got insurance, because you got to have insurance on your car note. Then you got Dominion, that's another $100, maybe if you're lucky, $100. Then you got daycare, that's $500. Then you got to eat. You got to put gas in the car.
Just try having 5 kids, you know? You will see. I mean, and then they grow up on you so quick, especially like now, I got a son, he about to come to Virginia State too, y'all, so. But, you know, getting him prepared for college and stuff like that, his prom, he just left prom this week, and things like that. Yeah, working a regular job, it definitely won't, you know, give you things, I mean, more money to do more things, you know, outside of, if he a prom, no, he definitely wouldn't, no. It would have been something substitute for a prom. We would have had a backyard cookout. But just doing things like that, being able to do extra things, like I say, going to get my hazmat license, that's just, now they made it a obligation that you have to go back to school.
All right, you want to talk about this licensing? I'm not there yet. Let's talk about it. All right. So with the $500,
Yeah.
you were able, you pay. Did it cost $500 to get the license, or help me understand the connection between the $500 and getting your hazmat license?
First you have to go back to school. That's one. If you didn't get your license from that school, it's $300. But if you did, it's $150.
Okay.
Then you have to go to DMV. Then you have to get your tanker's license as well, and also getting your TWIC card, which is $125 as well. And that would make it better for me, because I'll be able to go on the ports. I'll be able to go to just be able to do more things with that, and just taking hazmat anywhere, it ups your pay. Like I say, it's good money in trucking, but also you have to have the experience, you have to have the endorsements and all that. So, and not having the money to do it, I wouldn't have had no $125. Not the money that they paying me. No, I definitely wouldn't have had it to do the things that I need to do to make more. So it helps you make more in life. And not only that, I was just talking to my mom the other day, and I say, Mom, this bill collector keep calling me, but this thing is on my credit, and it's $315. She like, boy, you better pay that thing. I said, you right, I got that $500 coming this month. I was like, so I'm gonna pay it, and it helped me. So all my debts are paid now. You know, just having it, like little small things like that, it really matters.
I'm going to you, McKeon, to go back to you, Kiki, but I just want to drill down because you said a couple things that are interesting. So when we did the data from the first year in my hometown of Stockton, 2019, we found that those who received the guaranteed income were 2 times more likely to go from part-time to full-time work than those who didn't, and 2 times less likely to be unemployed. Meaning exactly what you said, that this idea that the $500 didn't make you smarter or make you work harder, but gave you the opportunity to do the things you already knew to do, to make more money. But you just didn't have the $150. You didn't have the $200. You didn't have just the little things necessary to get ahead. So I think that's what people don't understand. It's about paying for necessities, which we'll talk about, but it's also about giving you the chance to think strategically about where the next step is. And oftentimes people make it seem like folks who are struggling financially are struggling because they're dumb or they don't know how to manage money. They don't know how to spend money. But like, no, it's like, I don't have money to manage. It's not that I don't know how to manage money. Like 1 + 1 is 2. I have to get to 5. Like that's the issue. Not that I can't add. So Makai, can you talk about sort of the $500, like what it allowed you to do? Like it's so interesting. You're a mother, you're a basketball player, you're a master's student, you're an intern, you were working. I'm sure you do 2, 3, or 4 other things too as well. Like, how did the $500 help you make choices and position you for what you want your career to be?
So initially, when I heard about the program, I was an employee at a dentist's office. I was a certified dental assistant. And then when I met my mentor, Faith Walker, who introduced me to the program, she kind of pushed me to finish, I guess, or advance my education.
So you weren't in,
No, I wasn't.
You were a dental assistant, you weren't working.
I was working.
You were in school, I'm sorry.
Right.
You was working. Because the trolls would get me on that. Like, no, thank
Right.
you. All right, so you were working. She was working. And then what happened?
And then so she just kind of talked me into finishing. I had 1 more eligible year of basketball, so I found Virginia State. I said I'm not from here, and the program just so happened to be 1 year. So I had 1 year of basketball. I had to do 1 year of school. So I couldn't work because I was playing basketball. I was a mom and I was a student, and at the time, my daughter's father, who was amazing, was paying half of everything. So that half of everything equaled $500. So I just had enough to keep my car, pay the insurance, get gas, and maybe do a few other things. So like I said, without this, I wouldn't have been able to even go to school, play basketball, or intern on the Hill, because I found out about the Hill internship from Virginia State. And so now that I'm almost finished with my master's degree, I'm looking into getting my PhD at 24. So I'll be a doctor by 28. So I know it sounds crazy, but without this extra $500, I wouldn't be able to call myself Dr. Rice. I'll be Dr. Rice by 28. And that means a lot to me because.
Don't make me cry.
Don't cry. Don't do that.
Oh, for real?
Don't do that.
Wow. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Don't do that. But I mean, my goal is to, and you spoke about your purpose, like my career path. And at the time, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but sitting and being in Capitol Hill is an amazing place to network. Like, unless you're there, you really don't know who's like sitting next to you, the conversations you hear, the things that you're able to do. And I'm just so grateful because, I truly feel like I've found my purpose. I want to be like you. I want to be like you. I want to be like the congresswoman that I work for. And with this extra $500, I was just able to branch out. It gave me wiggle room to figure out what that is.
And I think what I'm most struck by from all you guys is that it's clear you guys were brilliant and smart and resilient, that you guys had the answers. And you were lucky enough to be one of 60 people in a city of 170,000 plus to receive $500 a month. And I think that's why the work has to be about making this a pilot, because as extraordinary as this conversation is, we have this same conversation 1,000 times over. If it was 1,000 times plus over, if it was a law, if it was a policy. And I think that's why I'm getting so emotional, because I'm like, wow, I'm so thankful and happy for you all and your families, but I'm just heartbroken for all the families who didn't participate, because we haven't yet made it a federal policy. But this idea that $500 was enough for you to go back to school and sort of impact your future earnings by being able to make a decision in the present that wasn't based off survival and hand to mouth is so powerful. And Kiki, in the same way, you mentioned earlier in your intro that you were working 2 jobs when you started the program, and now you're putting a 2-week notice in for your last job. And some demented people will say that's bad. She should work 2 jobs. I say, no, this is an unqualified success, that she's able to work 1 job and go to sleep and see her kids, because you deserve that. Like, we all deserve to live as human and with dignity. So could you talk about that journey for me, like how the $500 allowed you to be in a position where you can do that? And we also talked a little bit about your relationship with your children, how $500 helped that. So can you share some of that with us as well?
So shortly after, probably about a month after the program, I got into the program, my car was stolen. So
it's one of them Kias, y'all. Apparently y'all still Kias out here. I didn't know that. It's a big thing. Oh, it's out everywhere? So, sorry, Mayor. Apparently everywhere, including here, y'all like Kias. I don't know.
That $500, it was like, okay, I have a $1,000 deductible I have to pay to get my car fixed.
Wait, let me backtrack. What would happen if you didn't have the $500 and your car was stolen?
I would have no car. I wouldn't be able to go to work. I had just had surgery, so I would have been catching rides for doctor's visits. And it was a major surgery.
That's what's so powerful, though, right? Like this idea that you were lucky, because life happens.
Absolutely.
Life is going to happen. We can't control everything that happens, but a little bit of money allows you to respond in a way where it doesn't throw your whole life off track.
I didn't have a savings. I had just enough to get bills paid.
And what's wild about that, half of America doesn't have a savings. Like, we came up with $500 because 1 out of every 2 Americans doesn't have a $500 for emergency. But I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. So we at the beginning. It's 1 month in the program.
So I was able to get my car fixed, traded it in, and then working 2 jobs. I don't get daycare assistance. It was always a struggle between advancing my career as a pharmacy technician or keeping my job as a manager at Walgreens so I can have food stamps. That was the turn. So I could advance my career, get my national license, get in the hospital, move up, learn how to do IVs, learn how to make chemotherapy treatments and make a difference in other people's lives. And then that brought in a lot of doors for me, because that's how I figured out I don't want to be a nurse. I want to be a certified case manager and help kids in mental health. And, I was able to start school thanks to working at MCV with the tuition reimbursement. And that extra $500 was like, okay, I can get me a laptop so I can do school. I don't have to work overtime I can take my kids on trips so they can learn, broaden their horizons.
Let me, because there's a lot there, and I think it could get lost because there's so much just richness in what you said. So you mentioned, and when we talked about the benefits cliff, you described it so eloquently. This idea that I have this job, that allows me to get some help. If I want to do better, then I lose my hope. So I'm worse off than I was when I got that. Like
It was literally if I got a 50-cent pay raise,
50 cents.
yearly raise, I no longer qualified for food stamps. And it was 50 cents is this much, it's $500 extra a year. I need that extra so I can pay my rent because my rent's going up too.
Mm. And then, so how did you make the decision to become a certified? Did that happen during the program or before the program?
Way before.
Way before the program. So also you said, all right, I'm gonna take this short-term L and not
I'm
have.
gonna have to
Wow.
figure it out. And I've always worked 2 or 3 jobs.
And what did that do to your like health? Like that doesn't sound like it's like. Did you how many hours did you sleep?
Maybe 4.
4?
I was up at 6 o'clock at work, leave one job, go to the next job, and be home by 11 o'clock, be up again by 6 a.m. to go back to work.
And when did you see your kids?
I didn't.
Mm. And then the childcare costs are expensive.
Thankfully, I had family that helped, but who doesn't want to raise their kids? It hurts when you go to leave and your son says, "I love you, Mom, I miss you." So, yeah.
I can only imagine because last night my son said, "Daddy, why you go on an airplane?" I was like, "I gotta work." He said, "Daddy always work." And then he walked away and played with it. And I was like, "No, I'm coming back." So but that's just one time. And I felt, I was like, oh my gosh. So I can only imagine what it feels like every single day. And you're like, I'm doing this for you.
Yep.
I'm doing this to make sure. And then you talked about, no, let me go, I know you I know you ready. You're like, you get everyone else a chance to talk. All right, Emmanuel, let's go. So you're gonna say what you want to say anyway, but my question, but my question is, can you talk about? You mentioned your 5 sons. So can you talk about how the $500, if it has, allowed you to spend more time with your children?
Well, by me being a barber at first, you know, I kind of was there with them. It's actually giving me the opportunity to get away from them. Because I was able to go back and get my CDL and get my, you know, hold on, man. But see, I always teach my boys giving up is not an option. And I had failed at first with my CDL, you know, and I was explaining to Miss Ann's one day how it was, you know, having the extra money and stuff, it helped me to be able to go and take the class again and do what I always tell my boys don't do. Don't give up. We don't give up, man, because when we give up, we give in. Then we allow other people to control us. So then...
Dumb question, did the test cost money?
Yeah, the test, definitely costs money. Yeah,
So if you didn't have the 500, would you have been able to take the test again, you think, or?
I wasn't gonna be able to go back to school because being a barber, you have to be there consistently. You know, so you can't take no time off in the barbershop because then I don't get paid no check. You know, and if I miss a day, then I miss money. So I was able to go back and do I think I was there for like a month. But and when I went and got it, they was just encouraging me like I always encourage them, you know, and they was like, "Dad, you got it," you know, and I was like, "That's what's up." And I was able to do it. Now I got something to show them. Now I'm driving the big trucks, even though leaving, like she was saying, like just leaving, I have to leave at 6 in the morning because I got a 3-year-old that when I leave, he want to go, but he don't want to get on the truck. Because the truck too big, you know. So, but yeah, it just, I mean, and not to get things misconstrued, but you know, now looking back at it, that $500, like people, if like my mom, she raised 6 kids by herself, you know, and just I can only imagine if she had an extra $500 a month. She was already giving us everything we wanted. You know what I'm saying? And then just to see all this, but she never was there. You know, she worked so much, and it was like, dang, Mom, you know what I'm saying? So my biggest goal is I want to work for her and make my family. I want to take care of my family. I want to do the things that she did for me, for her. You know, so even during the time before I got the $500, I had a house, and I was like, Mom, come stay with me. You ain't gotta pay no bills or nothing. But then that failed. So, you know, I wasn't able to keep up with it. So even now, being in a 3-bedroom apartment with 5 boys, you know, active boys, you know, it's hard. But like I say, I was able to go back to school. I was able to, now I'm on the road now, and now I'm able to make more money with just having knowing I got this extra $500 coming in, knowing, you know, being able to pay for the stuff that he wanted for prom, being able to pay Virginia State, they got the program this summer, the July, the Trojan summer camp or something. And you know, that was $150 just to stay on campus, then another $100. I sent that thing quick, then the man. Because I know, I look in the back of my head, because I always had the hustler's mentality, I just switched the product. You know, and that's the whole thing. So when coming from where I came from, you know, you either had to be in or you're gonna get kicked out. A lot of my friends ain't make it to where I'm at today. You know, so I wanna be that example for guys that's coming behind me, and not just, you know, even for this program. You wanna lead by example, because if things are happening, I feel like you have to be that person, and you have to be in the forefront of things, and I take it like it's my own, and I'm gonna roll with it, because I want other people to have the same opportunity that I have. These guys are struggling in these communities. Like, they want to do something different. I was scared when I was out there. I didn't want to really do that stuff. You know, so just being out there, but like I was telling you earlier, just I have to walk it out so they can see it, you know, and just have to do it. Like Nike, just do it. So, because you talk to them, but they like, man, you ain't got nothing. You know, you keep talking to me, telling me to do the right thing when you ain't got nothing. But now they starting to see the blessings that's on my life. I'm a God-fearing man. I love God, you know, and the thing about it, just seeing the blessings that's coming on to me, they see it. And maybe, you know, I can be an example for them guys, and people can stop talking to them or stop leading them down this bad path where they figure they can't do nothing different. Then when I tell them, man, I get an extra $500 every month. You know, they tell me, sign me up. They're like, hold on, wait till I get in contact with these people right now.
So, I know for a lot, so when we did it in Stockton, the first time, and Suki and Cameron could attest to this, the first time we sent letters out, we didn't get a lot of letters back. We realized that people thought it was too good to be true. It was like the government ain't ever gave me nothing but bills and tickets.
Like it's a catch.
Yeah, I couldn't get food stamps.
Yeah, so-
I tried so many times.
So when you first heard about the program, everyone can answer this, we'll start with you. Did you guys believe it was, what was your like the fact that the government was gonna give you $500?
It was a surprise to me, but
Why? Why was it a surprise?
well, okay. Like Mr. Wadley, I spoke with him. He went into great detail about the program and what it stood for. But he said basically it was a gift to you. It's untaxed. You don't tell nobody about it unless you want to. You do what you want with it. We're not gonna ask you. So I was kind of like, okay, well, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I felt like maybe I might have to pay it back later. I don't know. You just said it was a gift. So yeah, it was a surprise to me. But I'm grateful that I have it.
Same reaction for you?
I was like, y'all gonna take this out my check. When I saw it, I was like,
What made y'all say yes?
it was one of those, either they gonna say no or they gonna say yes. I just flipped the coin and hope for the best.
And for me, I mean, I was told I was the last person to get signed up for it. So I was really, really lucky. But I mean, like I said, hearing Mr. Wiley speak about it and the passion and the victory in his voice talking about it, I knew that it was something, not only was it gonna help me, but I was gonna be able to help other people after. So
I told a couple coworkers that
yeah.
I thought would qualify as well, and one of them was able to get on it as well. And she's a single parent as well.
I think it's just so wild that at the workplace, we're like organizing people to sign up for, like, we need guaranteed income and living wages, right? Like it's just wild to me that y'all are at work telling people like, look, we're here 12 hours a day, but sign up for this program. You might get it. Like we deserve so much more. We deserve so much more. And I'm so happy we're doing this, but every time I'm like, we have to evolve the conversation. Like, no more of this meager existence. No more of this scraping to get by and working ourselves to death. Like, we deserve to live with dignity. We deserve a chance to dream. We deserve a chance for our children to see us achieve. And you all continuing to tell your stories even after this is going to be a big part of us getting there, because I think the more people hear, and your mayor is eloquent, but the more people hear from folks who are experiencing it, I think the more people realize that, oh no, this isn't a scary thing. This isn't a bad thing. This is actually a really good thing. And maybe I can get it too. So I think a lot of the anger is because some people are like, I need it, and they're not gonna get it. They haven't got it yet because it's not enough. Anyway.
I think it's a lot of doubt.
Say more about that.
Because you're a working class, middle class, and it's like, I already know I can't get food stamps. I already know I can't get this type of energy assistance. So what makes this any different? So why even try?
And I think that's what's so powerful, particularly about the way mayor and the office have designed this, because across this country, we know folks at the bottom are struggling, and we know they're really struggling. There's also some level of help. But if you're like, and you said this when you like apply for food stamps, couldn't get it, et cetera. Like if you're like just a little bit above, there's nothing. Like you got one rung on the ladder, but then there's no floor. It's backwards, really. So I get why this particular program is so powerful.
And for a person like myself, though, all I needed was a little bit of help. You know, like I just needed a little bit. I'm gonna go get it. You know. And I always instill it like, man, whatever I do, I'm gonna go hard at it. Like I just got top 25 in my company driver. You know, like I've been there like 6 months.
Wait, don't clap yet. How many drivers are there?
I work for a major company called Western Express. I work for a major company. Yeah.
Top 25 or 25. So all right.
Yeah, I know, right? It's only 26 drivers, though.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. You're making a good point.
I forgot.
No, you were saying you're a go-getter.
Yeah, like I just like to go, you know, and I like to be the best at whatever I do. But it was always something, I know the community, sometimes I would put so much of myself into these communities because I would just give my all, you know, because I know it's something better out here for us. God ain't bring me this far to lead me. And I know with all my friends, how many friends I done got that done died and just in jail for the rest of their life. And I say, God, you chose me. I was on the devil's side for a long time, you know, and you chose me. And my mom, she's a praying woman, you know, and she prayed me up out that stuff too, I'm telling you. But I was one of those guys because I see these guys.
Well, I love the fact that we in the South. Sometimes I be in California talk about God. Yeah. That's where I'm from. They be looking at me like, But here, you be like, amen. People speaking in tongues. I love it. I love it. Yeah. People's praying with us right now. I love it. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so he had he had a mission for me. And my thing is, and I know a lot of people I done probably knocked on a lot of doors, like, can you help me with this in the community? I done had meetings with Mr. Gore or whoever, you know. But I just wanted to do more, you know, and but I always was giving too much of myself, and I wasn't giving more time to my children. Now I'm able, like you say, I'm able to see the things and see them grow up more now. Because I was always running, because I always had to do something. So now that I'm able to sit back. When I'm home on the weekends, I'm able to sit in the house. I don't have to run out and do all this stuff. We're going places, you know. We had to go to Charlotte with my football player, my 16-year-old. He's a football player. So I was able to get off the road and go straight to Charlotte. And we didn't have to worry about gas, money, food, nothing. You know, like, and, you know, they give us a gas card. They give us a gas card where we get points on the road. So I'm stopping by the truck stop gas station. Y'all want something? I got some points on my car. So we come and we, you know.
Wait, let me do a quick time check. I have a couple more questions. How much time do I have? I don't know. I literally don't know how much time I have. Oh, we got 5. Oh, it's past time. See, I would have had y'all here all night. Well, last comments from all of you guys, because again, I mentioned this is happening in Richmond, but it's happening across this country. Jackson, Mississippi, St. Paul, Minnesota, Newark, New Jersey, Madison, Wisconsin, Gainesville, LA, Chicago, etc. It's a lot of places. And still, data came out again from year 2 with COVID. People didn't stop working. People were happier. People were healthier. People spent money on food and utilities. But for some reason, the data has not just been enough to evolve the conversation. So my final question to you all is sort of, if you were speaking to President Biden or to the United States Congress, or you were being interviewed by Fox News or something, like, what would you say about... No, you would be good on Fox News. I'll pay for that. No, I'll pay to see that. You and Tucker Carlson. That'd be something. Anyway, what would you say to folks about why do we need a guaranteed income? If it's like, well, why do we need this? We have this, we have that, we have that. Like, why do we need this? Or why is this important? And what would you guys say?
It's more middle class people than there are poor people and rich people. So why isn't there a bridge in the gap to fill that gap with help? You have to be poor to get help, or you have to be rich to make things work. So what happens to the middleman?
I would say, like, inflation is real. Like, things happen, life happens, emergencies happen, things happen. So you might have enough for, your day-to-day, gas, food. Maybe you might. But what happens when your child gets sick? What happens when, there's a death in the family, or your car gets stolen? Something happens. What happens? So having that extra cushion is really, you need that. Like you said, half of the people in America don't have a savings. So for the people who can't because, they have 5 kids or 2, whatever it is, what do they do? What can you do for them?
I would say it's some people that, like she said, you got the upper class, you got the lower class. But what about that person that just need that little bit of help to succeed? They got all these bright ideas, but they can't get over the hump because they robbing Peter to pay Paul, and they don't have enough money to do things that's the necessities that they need to get to where they going in life. Like, I just needed to get over that hurdle so I can go back and get my CDL, and so I can go and do the things that I need to do with my children so I can put them through college. I ain't say the $500 gonna put them through college, but it's gonna sure enough help me to get where I need to be to get the money to get them in college. So that's how it's gonna help.
Well, Emmanuel Kiki McCabe, thank you for your leadership, for your again, I know how hard it is to tell your story, particularly around neighbors and friends and classmates and colleagues. But I truly believe if more people hear from folks who are receiving guaranteed income, who aren't aliens from another place, who have kids, who are just as human as they are, the closer we'll get to a policy. So again, thank you for your leadership. Thank you for your work. And I'm so happy for you and your families. I'm so proud of how you guys have been able to position yourselves. I'm looking forward to 10 years from now and seeing how this small investment really accelerated a bunch of impact and change. So again, thank you guys. Thank you.
Well, give another round of applause for our panel. Mayor Tubbs, Makai Rice, Kiki Ramos, Emmanuel Johnson. Y'all, before I close, I just want to reflect on what we just heard. It was 1967 when Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s book, Where Do We Go From Here, called for guaranteed income as the solution to poverty. And then a few years later, in 1969, President Richard Nixon proposed a sweeping anti-poverty initiative that would guarantee income for families with children, only to have it scuttled by Republicans and Democrats in the United States Senate. That was 67 and 1969. It's fair to say, I think Dr. King and President Nixon were on to something. As discussed tonight, all too recently, we've seen the wealth gap between the haves and the have-nots. We've seen it grow larger, and only to be exaggerated by a worldwide pandemic and high inflation rates. That is unacceptable. I believe government must be in the opportunity business, not just in the business, not just for businesses, but for people. We must be in the opportunity business. Government has the ability to empower families with the resources they need to have the ability to craft and achieve their own American dream, especially historically marginalized families. And that's why my administration has been all about, removing barriers to access and providing an abundance of opportunities to improve the quality of life of all of our residents. By being intentional with our efforts over the last 6 years, we've reduced the poverty rate in Richmond from 26% to 19%. Providing help to Richmonders is what this administration is all about. Real people, real problems, and real solutions. Finding a better way. Sometimes those solutions are simple and straightforward, like guaranteed income, where a monthly payment promotes dignity and moves historically marginalized families towards economic freedom. Like Dr. King said, guaranteed income is the simplest and most effective solution to poverty. And now, more than 50 years after Dr. King and President Nixon, after they both advocated for guaranteed income, we are seeing more than 50 pilot projects being launched across our country, including right here in the great city of Richmond. Like you heard tonight, we established the Richmond Resilience Initiative in 2020. The pilot program has now touched the lives of 64 Richmonders, with 46 families in the second cohort. This is all possible due to funds we've received through the CARES Act, from our partner, the Robbins Foundation, Mayors for Guaranteed Income, and the American Rescue Plan Act. And as you heard, we are already seeing the life-changing difference the Richmond Resilience Initiative is making in people's lives. Now, this is just a start. As Mayor Tubbs said, we gotta go from pilots to policy. And no better place to start right here at the local level, going from pilot to policy. That is why Mayors for Guaranteed Income have been petitioning people like President Biden to take this on as a federal program. I actually went to Washington, D.C. with Mayor Tubbs to the White House to pitch guaranteed income. And we're gonna continue to do it. We're gonna continue to take this not just to our state capitals, but to Washington, D.C., to the White House to make this a national policy. I hope after what you heard tonight that you will also join us in this effort. And with that, I want to thank Mayor Tubbs and our amazing panel, and I want to thank you for coming out this evening. God bless you, and God bless the great city of Richmond.